Hello, my name is Simon and welcome to AFC Bournemouth Analysis. Here's my take on our 1-0 defeat at home to Chelsea. So yes, despite being a defeat, it's another game where we pushed a top side in the Premier League very close. Small margins, if we'd got a bit more luck we could have got a point. And aside from that, I think there were some very good individual displays on Saturday. Nathan Ake was great against his former club, and even though there were questions over his 20 million price tag, I think he's living up to that. He didn't look overawed against, a top class striker like Morata. Stanislas was also lively until he got injured. Other than that, Sermon and Cook played well. Lewis Cook in particular grew into the game. I think at the start of the match he was struggling to compete with the larger Chelsea players. I mean, most of the players in the Premier League are larger than Lewis Cook, but I think in the second half he really realised what he needed to do, and he grew into the game, and that's promising because if he can do it against the bigger sides, then hopefully he'll be very useful in our upcoming run of fixtures, which are very important indeed. I just mentioned our upcoming fixtures are important, and they definitely are, because the black and white of it is we've played 10 games this season and lost 7, which is not great at all. And it's another defeat, so there's questions over whether this defensive approach we're putting forward against the bigger sides is the right idea. Obviously against Man City we lost in the last minute, Spurs we lost 1-0 but could have snatched a point, and again we could have snatched a point here. Steve Cook had an effort right at the death, and if it goes either side of Courtois I think it's in, but the facts are that was our only attempt on target in the whole match. So whether there's a real lack of cutting edge is the big question. I think the answer is obviously yes, because we've not scored many goals and we didn't really have too many chances against Chelsea. There were 2 or 3 moments, but we really struggled, especially in terms of the strikers we're playing. Defoe was very poor for the first half. You can say we don't play to his strengths, but he just offers very little. And AFCB worked hard in the first half, but in the second half he just doesn't look like he can do the sole man up front. And that was shown in the Stoke game last week as well, where he just nothing stuck up front, and just the ball just kept coming back. So it was great to see Wilson come back, but we've definitely got issues going forward. And yeah, we've got to solve these problems, especially in the upcoming games against teams which we do have chances to get points against. The ugly is the injury to Stanislas and the injury to AFCB. Stanislas is going to be a huge miss, and he looked like he did his hamstring. It's yet to be confirmed what the injury is, but he's been such a big player for us since he's come back from his injury. But the problem is he just keeps getting injured. And yeah, he really, for a winger, he really helps piece our play together. He was kind of playing in a number 10 role a bit in the midfield yesterday, but he's just... he adds so much to attacking play, we're really going to miss him. So hopefully he's not out too long. And obviously AFCB being injured is bad news as well, because obviously with King and a back problem, then possibly we've only got Defoe and Wilson, who's only just coming back from injury himself. So yeah, the injury situation is quite worrying at the moment. I mentioned it earlier, but Lewis Cook growing into the game is a great sign, and it seems like Eddie Howe is picking him over Gosling and Arter now, which it was something we all wanted, and it's finally happening. The results aren't quite coming as consistently as we would liked, but I think Lewis Cook has to start in midfield now. Maybe we could have done with Arter in midfield on Saturday, add a bit more bite, but ultimately it's great to see Lewis Cook growing into games against top opposition, and hopefully he only improves. I want to hear what you think, and a lot of people got in touch, so thanks. All on Twitter, and the first is Steve Wright 70 on Twitter, as I said, and he said Ake, Begovic, Sermon, Lewis Cook and Stanislas all played very well, kept it tight and had a few chances second half. November is a massive month. As I said, there were some great individual performances. It's just a shame the game was decided on a combination of a defensive error. Francis tried to hook the ball away, but then lost his balance when he missed the ball, and then Hazard rushed through and beat Begovic at his near post, which was disappointing. That said, Chelsea had 2 or 3 chances, big chances throughout the game, and deserved to win, but it's just disappointing for them to get their goal through an error. You want it to be a piece of magic or something like that, but it wasn't to be. Then next, Michael Ponchad, who is Ponch AFCB on Twitter, said losing Stanislas potentially long term the biggest negative. Yeah, I agree. Stanislas is a much bigger player than anyone could have anticipated him being a couple of seasons ago in our squad. Yeah, he adds so much, and hopefully he'll be back very soon. Next, Proud Cherries said, felt we were unlucky not to get something. That is great, and moving forward to 6 fixtures that are easier on paper. Yeah, the problem is I think everybody's saying the same thing. The next 6 fixtures are huge, because obviously we've got that horrible run against, I think, City, Man United, Liverpool, and then Chelsea in the Cup just before Christmas. So yeah, these next 6 games are huge. The next game isn't an easy one though. Newcastle away. Newcastle have only lost 1 game at home all season in the league, and that was when they were reduced to 10 men against Spurs, so it's definitely not going to be easy. Hopefully we can keep the performance level up, because I think if we play like we did on Saturday, we do have a chance of getting something at Newcastle, but it's all about maintaining the performance level. And then finally, Heather Bates, who is Heather23680134, catchy username, said we played well, but just wasn't our night, that's all. Yeah, a lot of fans, very mixed reception after this game. Lots of people going, oh, it's great we competed with a top club, and other people unhappy that we're not attacking big clubs like we did, like in our opening season, 2 seasons. But, you know, we got thrashed in so many of those games, but also we won games. Like we beat Chelsea away, and we beat Man United at home. We caused Arsenal real problems last season until we bottled it. So yeah, I see the point of view. I'd hope that these performances against big clubs, they will eventually yield a point or 2. I think it's very unfortunate they haven't. So I'm going to stick with Eddie on this one and say that we do need to have a more defensive outlook against the bigger sides, and eventually it will come good. We just need to be a bit more of a threat up front, and I think that's the main problem we've had against these big teams, just not finishing the small amount of chances we had, or simply not putting them under enough pressure. So hopefully that can be put right in the training ground and by the players themselves up front. So yeah, that's all for this video. I went on a bit, but there was a bit to say. I'll also be doing a preview of the Newcastle game, and hopefully I'll have a Newcastle fan to talk to before that game. And I am going to the match, so I'm going to try to do some vlog stuff around the match, see how that goes. But yeah, please do follow the AFCB analysis accounts on Facebook and Twitter. Let me know your thoughts before and after matches, and I can read them out in my somewhat annoying voice. And yeah, you can also read my points on Yahoo Sport UK. I write for them exclusively about AFC Bournemouth, and a link to my latest article is in the description below. It's on the great performance of Jack Simpson midweek against Middlesbrough. So yes, thanks so much for watching, and up the cherries in all departments.